All right, and we are recording. Hello, everyone. My name is Val. Welcome to Deep Naked Thoughts. And today I have a very special guest. This is my friend Nick. He is a philosopher on his time off, a rock climber. Do you ever see the guy in the boulder sitting? I feel like that's Nick. Just kidding. But he's a expert rock climber and rock enthusiast, and honestly, just a very wholehearted, positive person and just amazing human. So, Nick, how would you like to introduce yourself to the audience so people that don't know you or people that do know you and are seeing you again, what would you like to tell them? What would you like to tell them about you?
Well, thank you for that introduction. It's hard to come up with something that might top that. And it's actually funny you mentioned like the thinker sitting on the stone. There's a
Mm,
really great
mm-hmm.
picture of me actually as a kid sitting under a little waterfall out there in the Gila,
Oh,
like in that
mm-hmm.
pose. So I
Mm-hmm.
think people that know me well know me kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty goofy, pretty high energy. I love to get out there and just explore and yeah, just making the most out of what we have around us. I've been climbing uh, for a long time. My story is a bit interesting. My first rock climbing class was 2014, so I've been climbing for quite some time, and I've been in the industry now for several years. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was primarily healthcare was the focus. I was on the track towards
Mm-hmm.
physical therapy, and aside from that, I have some fun hobbies. I do fire dancing as a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I have some interesting things that I do to keep myself just having fun with life. I think it's important to have fun with it.
Yeah, so for background, I think Nick has been in my life for well, since college, actually. That's where we met. We met in philosophy class. But I see a lot of parallels where you were going into the healthcare industry, and I remember like how tired and exhausting that was for you. And I was also in the mental health care industry, and it was also very fatiguing for me. Like it was very taxing on me. And so we both kind of went through this journey of kind of finding ourselves. You went back to rock climbing and then were able to do that and get paid for it. So you can tell us about that and where you're at if people want to find you or go climb with you. But for me, it was going back to martial arts of like, yes, I learned all these things. Yes, it's made me better. And yes, I love psychology, but also this is not where I'm meant to be. So do you want to tell us about kind of that journey, where it's gotten you and what you've learned? Because even though you didn't pursue physical therapy in the way that maybe you wanted to, has it made you a better climber, or has it made you better at coaching or resting or telling people like, hey, like, I don't know, wrap your wrist, or this is how you stretch, or this is how you rehabilitate your wrists or your joints, or this is how you stretch. So even though maybe it's not like what you wound up doing, has it made you a better climber and coach? So just take us through that.
Yeah, I all the above. I mean, as I sit here, actually, my finger is taped. I got a little owie as I was working on the wall last week, and I'm challenging myself to tape it better and better and better every time. So it's fun that I know how to tape and I can practice this skill, and it's relevant in my own life, obviously, but also for others. I mean, I find that I fall back on my skills that I learned as an EMT, as a nurse tech, as a PT student, like all the time. I find that everything I ever learned is relevant. And I often find that I had paid more attention to things that I thought were irrelevant because now I wish, gee, if I had paid more attention in geometry, I would understand the physics of like rope access better and like the angles that I need to place pulleys and like systems like that. It's funny how things always kind of come around in a circular sort of fashion, but all that to say, I was really focused and dedicated and wanted to be a physical therapist really badly.
Hmm.
And it, right when I was supposed to be doing my observation and like hands-on hours, like after my prereqs were done, was when the 2020 shutdown kind of put everyone on their butts and we had to sit and think about things for a while. So during that time, when we came out of it, I just fell more into rock climbing and more of my time was spent there, and I got my first job there, and I realized how relevant all of my skills were there. Because at this point, I had already spent years in the healthcare industry as a tech on like in the ER and the ICU, in as a PT, OT, different roles, kind of getting tastes of the different flavors there. And one thing that I found with rock climbing that I didn't find in like your clinical healthcare setting was the ability to get really like genuinely personal. When you're in the hospital, you have to keep that wall up to a certain degree because people come and go. Like you're dealing with such a high number that you can't really allow yourself to get truly personal. And even in, climbing, you have to kind of watch yourself. But the core of every climbing community gym that I've ever been to has been the community. Like everyone always talks about the community, the people, like how genuinely authentic it is that we care about each other and trust each other. So I find that connection to fill me up as much as I'm able to like instill that in others as well. So at the end of the day, it's not exactly the physical therapy that I thought I would be doing, but I'm a great coach. Like I'm an awesome camp counselor. I do lots of personal training, and yeah, all those skills are definitely still relevant.
Wow. I really believe that, we tend to go back full circle, and maybe the things that we did were giving us tools so that we could come back and make what we were meant to do better. And
Mhm.
so for you, it was rock climbing. For me, I believe that I'm meant to coach and teach kids martial arts. Um, but I had to go and do it in a different setting. So I worked with children with autism. But I relate to you so much because I was in these fields and talking with these, like you said, SLPs, what is it, physical therapists, clinicians, and I learned so much and I gained so much and I have so many tools and I was able to use that and take that and then apply it somewhere. So I think that you and I were exactly where we were meant to be to go back to what we were supposed to do.
Mhm.
One thing that I talk a lot about is authenticity and being authentic in like what you want to do or what I want to do. And so, for example, one thing that I say is like, Val is not really good at baking, and that is okay. But somewhere out there is, and maybe they make the best pastries or the best fill in the blank, and like we're just supposed to go and enjoy in the things that they make. And so it's like
Mhm.
not all of us are meant to do this like grandiose thing, and that's okay, but like we have a thing that we're really good at that we can share with the world. So for you it might be climbing, for me it might be martial arts, for somebody it might be baking, for somebody it might be making art, for somebody it might be science and like asking questions and figuring things out. But everybody has that thing, and so that thing that makes you shine is gonna help make others shine. So yeah, I genuinely believe in that. So I'm a psychologist. Let's talk about your childhood.
Oh yeah, inside
um,
deep.
h-
This is
how
deep,
did
deep
you?
thoughts, right?
Yeah, exactly. So how did you get into climbing? And when you were a child, what did you see yourself doing? Like, what did you think you were going to be?
Interesting. I think as a child, I really got into my head early on that like I could be anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I still kind of carry that a little bit. Like I really believe that with time, resource, and motivation, like a person, like not even just me, a person could do anything. I think we're all capable of so much. It's actually overwhelming. But once I started to think more career wise, I realized I really enjoy helping people. Like I really want to just feel like I'm being useful and see the appreciation from somebody in some way. Then my mom was always in healthcare, and so I kind of wanted to follow in that track because it seemed pretty obvious. And then I grew up here in Las Cruces as well, which is nestled like right beneath the Organs, which are breathtaking for anyone who doesn't know. They recently became a national monument. Well, I guess not so recently. They became a national monument some time ago, and well deserved. They are incredible. And growing up in the shadow of those mountains, it always seemed like a painting that was just way off in the distance until like I actually went out there. And I'm not sure if I can remember my first time out there, but growing up out here, it just felt like that was my backyard. Like I just felt so comfortable out there for as far back as I can remember. I mean, lots of my cousins kind of lived sorts in the outskirts, and I was lucky to be growing up like riding ATVs and dirt bikes, and I was just a kid with so much freedom. Like some of my earliest memories are riding those ATVs along the canals and just the wind in my face. And I must have been like 9 or 10, and I just felt like, I was the king of the world. So I just always feel like had a feeling of like being comfortable in the open spaces. Then, fast track a bit. Now I am 18. I have my EMT license. I'm on the right track to healthcare in some aspect. And that was when I started to actually hike and rock climb. That was when I learned like how to tie knots, what my shoes should feel like, all that sort of thing. The catalyst, interestingly enough, you have heard this story. The catalyst for all of this was when Mitch fell during our senior year of high school. We would go out there on the rocks, and before we really knew what we were doing, like we're wearing tennis shoes, we're just scrambling and asking for something bad to happen. So one day, something bad happened. He was up there, and the whole rock that he was hanging onto just broke, and he took the worst fall still I have ever seen. And, by the time everyone got there and he was helicopter flown to El Paso, it was like several hours later. But also, that was our first encounter with search and rescue. And after he recovered, we decided that we wanted to learn how to do this right. So we went back and we volunteered with that crew. And that was where I learned a lot of like my knots, a lot of like my really fundamental basic climbing stuff and safety stuff. Um, Gosh, and then I don't know, it feels like everything just was meant to converge at some point, honestly. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I what was the question again? Go ahead and lead me away, Val.
No, I'm kind of just soaking and taking that in because um I didn't have that experience. I think by that time you already were very knowledgeable in bouldering and rock climbing. And also, you introduced me to a group of people that were very safe and
Yeah.
always were watching out for my safety. And so I had a completely different experience than you did because I think you did the hard part so that I could do the easy part. I was like, oh, wow, I was not out there that time.
Yeah, that's
But
always been a bit of my nature too, is I like to find where the boundaries are. I'll test a little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, but I think you painted a beautiful picture to the audience of where we grew up because we woke up to beautiful mountains, to beautiful sunny skies, to warm weather, to ATVs and mud and hills
Mhm.
and arroyos and just mesquite, that really nice aroma of like flowers and just desert. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. And so you painted a beautiful picture that I miss. But also just being out. I think there's a lot of people that are scared or that maybe don't trust themselves. And I think you are a guide, or that's what you've become, kind of a guide for people to explore our nature, our land, and also do it safely. And so, again, I think everything just comes back full circle. But um, I'm glad and I needed you there. Okay, so let's see. So where are you now, or when did you decide like this is what I want to do? So you've taken us through a bit of your childhood. You've taken us a bit of like this was me in high school and then this happened and then I did pursue uh medicine or the medical field. So then what happens? Like what happens where you're just like I just need out. Like this is not it. Like how can I get into bouldering, rock climbing full time? Like, take us through that.
I think my journey there was kind of similar to the journey I described before, where I really wanted to start at level one and just go up from there. So, like, my first job was just a front desk person. I mean, I loved climbing for my own recreational enjoyment. I had a membership at the gym that I lived. Oh, I was in Dallas also, I should say at this time. I was really fortunate to be living in Dallas, which had, gosh, at that time and still now, dozens of well, not dozens, about a dozen awesome rock climbing gyms. So I was really lucky to have abundance of variety around me. So I'm climbing at all these different gyms, getting a taste of all these different flavors, and I needed a job. So I was like, okay, front desk, save on the membership while I'm still in school. And then that led to me just going deeper down this rabbit hole. I mean, that was the next thing that really caught me about the rock climbing world was that there's a never ending amount of things to learn in this field. Honestly, it just keeps going, which is exciting for me. I love learning, and just being in a whole new field for me is a really exciting experience. So I would say for someone who like wants to get into it, like you're asking, is um, have an open mind and that mentality of being suddenly in something where you're going to be a little fish in a super big ocean. Like
Mhm.
it's overwhelming and exciting at the same time. Depending on what you want to get out of it. I'll be honest, like this isn't the field where we're going to be making the big bucks and, all that sort of thing. This is a field that's more around community, again, community and passion and, you know, exploring the space safely and being stewards to the environment. So I think I would start by asking, like, why do you want to get into this? Like, what are you hoping to get out from it? Like, if you want to just better your own bouldering game, like for sure, I think teaching is the best way to learn something, and we can get you going as a coach or as a boulder bro. And if you're wanting to get into the industry, it'll definitely put a new perspective on things. But ultimately, I think the most important thing about this industry today is that it's built on community, and the more we can lean on each other and really help lift each other up, like that's what it's really about.
I was gonna say, and one thing that I have thought about in the past is you said like this isn't where the big bucks are, and I wonder if in the future, maybe near future, that could change because studies have shown that people that have community tend to live longer. So people in like Okinawa, Japan, or people in Latin cultures, they tend to live in generations where the grandparents maybe live with their family, so they see their grandkids grow up. So people in very strong communities like longevity, also health, because you're living with other humans that can help you or attend to you or make sure that you're eating or that you're not falling. Like your quality, like you tend to do better. But also just in a place where the US is at, where, for example, like we're pushing a lot of GLP-1 drugs, which is to help aid with like metabolism, things that benefit your health, such as sports, such as the outdoors, such as martial arts, yoga, meditation, things like that. I wish that there would be more income or more money put into these areas or maybe be more studied because innately they're helping people in so many areas of their life, whether it's mental health or physical health or community or fill in the blank, even like just a therapeutic like escape. So whenever you ask, and you didn't ask me, but you asked like, what are you trying to get from this? When I started climbing during the pandemic. And I just needed an outlet. I really needed to be outdoors. I was tired of being home locked in, just 6 feet apart from people. One day we're going to talk about this, and this is going to be like a history of like they were really 6 feet apart and there was no toilet paper. Just kidding. Like COVID. Yeah, the people that
Very.
lived through COVID. Yeah, but I was just so tired. Also, I was doing grad school online. A lot of the work that I was doing was online. It was such a time of for me, because I can't speak for everyone, of like solitude and just I felt so alone and I was so alone. And so climbing put me outdoors. I was out in the fresh air in the mountains. I was around people that were watching out for my safety. And I was also learning a new skill. And one thing that climbing did, that martial arts also did, but differently, was helping me be aware of where my body was in time and space. And it was like a different thing because in martial arts, your feet are on the ground, or maybe your back's on the ground. But here, you're on a rock and you're having to hold on and also figure out where you're going to go next. And you're relying on an object, like you're relying on a rock to guide you. So it was completely
Mhm.
different and I loved it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, if I let go, I'm gonna fall." If
Yeah.
I can't I'm like, I have to figure out how to get off or, like, how to keep going up to the top. So it was just a different ball game, and I loved it so much. So this transitions us to the next question. What does staying curious mean for you and your day-to-day, like day in, day out kind of life? And yeah, what does staying curious mean to you? And how can others also stay curious?
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. 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 I love that you were talking about the parallels between climbing and martial arts first. I think I do that as well all the time. And as a fellow martial artist, I love the similarities and I love the crossover and how, again, everything is just relevant. And I think that's part of staying curious for me. I try to, I suppose I didn't think about it really until you sent me these questions and I read it and I realized, oh, that is another way to kind of put a spin on this motto that I do live by is staying curious. And as a fellow martial artist, you're gonna love this. One of my like favorite mottos that I live by and think about all the time and share with others is what Bruce Lee said when he's talking about, training and bettering yourself. He talks about learning as much as you can from as many different sources as possible, taking what works, discarding what doesn't, and adding what's uniquely yours. And I find that that's kind of my version of staying curious. I mean, that allows you to keep an open mind. I mean, maybe he was talking about learning from another dojo or another style entirely or something. But he was also a philosopher. He also was, badass for lots of reasons. So he was talking more about an open mind to everything. Learn from everyone, especially people that you disagree with. Like your enemies, someone that's like as heated as you are about something, they're closer to that issue than someone who's way remote and not even like in the mix who you think has your back. Like you're closer to your enemies than you realize most of the time is something else I was thinking about because I think that's something to stay curious about too, is especially in an argument, like stay curious. Like, why is that person mad? Where is their anger, their fear coming from? Like staying curious is such an interesting kind of concept to try to break apart.
Yeah, I think that's super psychological. And I didn't think about that of like your enemies are closer to the issue than you think because they're like right next to it. And there's a reason why you guys are disagreeing,
You're
but they're
both
still
passionate.
so, yes. And so I'm like, huh, I actually hadn't thought about that. And I think there's also so much knowledge in having enemies. Not saying that I'm out there trying to like go make enemies, but they also see your weaknesses. So it's like, huh, like these are things that like I can work on, but they also see your strengths. So there's a reason why there's conflict there. So they actually give you so much feedback and so much data about yourself. But wow, that was such a gem. And also, you touched on Bruce Lee. And yes, you are a martial artist. You're also a dancer, Latin dancer, and also fire spinner. So it's really cool. But one thing that I've learned to love is enjoying the journey and seeing all of the things that my body is capable of. And
Bro.
so learning how to dance and actually learning how to dance made me better at martial arts. Um, what else? Climbing. This is kind of hard because as much as I love physical exercise and going to the gym, climbing has given me a better workout every time than just going to the gym because you're using every single muscle and it's all contracted. Like it is such a good,
Oh,
like pristine workout. I've
yeah.
never had like a much better workout, not even swimming, not even yoga. Yoga helps me a lot with like relaxing and stretching my muscles, but workout intensity, climbing, because you are so contracted and so tense and also so loose that climbing's been the best workout I've ever like had. Um,
Well, it's just, I want to say
meh.
too, it's just different from what people normally do. And I think one of the most beautiful examples of that crossover was at one of the climbing gyms in Dallas that I used to work for. I helped start up their kickboxing program. So the yoga studio was big enough and the ceiling was low enough that we could hang a bunch of bags from the ceiling. And we ran a kickboxing program there that was banging. Like people loved kickboxing at a climbing gym. And the one guy who went all the time after like a month or two told me he's a choir instructor for high school. He told me after a couple of months that his singing voice had improved drastically because his like deep core was so much stronger, which is, again, I'm just like, everything is relevant and kind of crosses over. And I love the play between like climbing and dancing and performance and, just awareness of your body and space is such an important and useful skill to practice.
Yeah, I completely agree. So this kind of takes me on to my next question or the next set of questions, but helping others. Because again, you've taken a lot of tools from what you've learned throughout your childhood, throughout your life, through what you've learned in college. Again, the applied, which is the medical, um, physical therapy aspect, mental aspect, but then also now you're applying your own personal knowledge and now you're in a gym, you're teaching, you're coaching. Um, I know you coach adults, you've coached me. Um, I know you also coach children. So tell me about that. Has that helped you kind of fill your cup and your purpose of helping others, but also doing it in a way where you also like you also love and climbing rocks. So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm in a very happy place, career wise right now. This is pretty close to perfect for your boy right now. I got here to sessions a few years ago, almost a few years ago. I'm getting pretty close, but I was hired on as the community programs manager initially for the first, couple of years. I was overseeing, all of the training, the youth, the outdoor, events and programs. Everything that we did there was, kind of my responsibility, which was my first time having that much responsibility. And I learned so much as a manager, like being responsible for several other people, like for a team of people. That was a lot that I didn't expect as much as I did expect. And it was awesome. I'm super grateful for it. And my ultimate goal is I want to run a gym. Like I want to be in climbing forever. I want to see this succeed. I want to see it reach as many people as possible. Like my vision is pretty big and I want to see it happen. So I'm in it for the long run. And about a year ago now, I was able to kind of take a lateral move from management into more route setting, comp team head coach, and personal training, which are just the three things that I nail and I'm just best at. So I just get to, focus on that and really drive it in. And it's been really great. And I'm really grateful, for the opportunity to be able to learn those fields as well as, give back what I do already know. Because that's the thing, for as long as I've been in this industry, I still feel like there's so much more to learn. There's so much more to get done, to understand, like certificates to get, like it just keeps going on and on. Um, so yeah, now I work primarily with the kids actually. Gosh, at sessions, there's been already hundreds of kids who've gone through the programs that I've had my hand in some way or another. There's so many kids who call me Coach Nick, and that's
Mm.
still like my favorite thing is when I'm just walking around and I hear a little voice go, "Hi, Coach Nick," from like across the gym, and like I know exactly who they are, like I know all their little names. It's really awesome. Yeah, it feels like this is exactly what everything has been leading up to for me to do, and I'm really grateful that I'm able to as well. I mean, I think you know more about my personal story, but I was in a pretty tough spot like several years ago, and I wouldn't have been able to step up this way if I hadn't taken the time to really sit down and like take care of myself mentally and physically and all that sort of thing. So it's been a tough road, but because I've been pushing for it, and because I feel the universe is also putting things into alignment and pushing me, like I know I'm on the right track.
Wow, Nick, I just want to sit with that for a second because you said so much and I want to unpack all of it. So one of the first things is I feel like we should manifest because because who knows if maybe we do an interview like 5, 10 years from now, maybe 2 years from now, a little let's not wait that long. But but
Yeah, one of many.
New Mexico, yeah, New Mexico has such beautiful, amazing nature. And in Las Cruces, it's hard because you have to go to El Paso to climb. And so your desire to have a climbing gym, I feel like would be so good for the community wherever you wanted to do it, but not having to outsource and go to another state, which again, we're super close to. But like the need is there. Like there's a need, drive, desire, and also like there's a lack of it. Like we don't have it. So it's like, well, like there's plenty of like bars, there's plenty of gyms, there's plenty of fill in the blank, but there's not this. So I feel like your dream is very reasonable and very doable. If I'm gonna figure out how to do it, but I'm like, I'll go in, I'll invest money in it. Like, yes, I want to help my community. Also, the thing is that scholarships, maybe making it so that the community also feels like they're a part of it. Like let's have a youth climbing or a youth climbers association or youth climbers scholarship so that they can go wherever they need or have. But that's the thing is that scholarships usually come from sports that are in school. So a volleyball scholarship because it's school, or like a soccer scholarship, or a basketball because it's in school, and you're limited to the sports that you can do in that school, or you have to look for what is it, outsource or other sponsors outside of the school. So for
Right.
taekwondo, I tried to get a lot of sponsors and I tried to get a lot of scholarships, but it's so hard because it wasn't like a school sponsored sport. And so it was really hard for me to get money for competitions, or it was hard for me to raise money by myself. So I'm like, but if a gym did it, so I feel like there's a need for it. So think on that more because I think your dream and goal is something that the community needs and we should have and could directly go back to like our kids, our youth in New Mexico, like help out our state. The second thing I was gonna say is that when I'm in the middle of it, or when I'm in the middle of a storm, or when I'm going through it, it sucks. And part of me is like, why me? But in helping kids and seeing them go through the same thing that happened to me or that I was going through, I'm like, oh, this is why. Because now I have the knowledge and I've made it to the other end and I know how to help this person. So it went from being more of like a victim, like, why me? Why me? To like, this is why, because now I have the tools, because now I have the skills, because I've gone through it and I know what to do or not to do. I can now help this person. And it sucks because you have to go it like firsthand and you it's like, man, I was on the struggle bus, but in being in the struggle bus, I'm like, man, now I can help people and I know exactly what they're going through. Yeah. So wow, Nick, you just gave us so much. I think the future is bright for you. Don't give up on your dreams because I genuinely feel like the dream that you have is for a reason. And I don't have that dream, but I will invest if I can. I'm going to make it so that I can, so that you can help people in our community. So I'm excited for your journey.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, we're doing it now too. I
we're
want to.
doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing
Yeah.
it. I'm like, I got a whole bunch of kids. Like, I think that's kind of the thing too. I'm finding with El Paso and Las Cruces because I the cities are quite close. I mean, I commute most days a week, and it's a drive, and the construction is very annoying, but it doesn't take that long, and then I'm there, and it's actually interesting. I would encourage more of kind of a like a partnership between Las Cruces and El Paso. I want to see a train, like I want to see a bullet train between Las Cruces and El Paso. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see us building up some bridges, like because we do have climbing in New Mexico. Like, I think it's worth mentioning, like, Albuquerque is further away than El Paso is, and Albuquerque has stellar climbing, as well as some gyms that have been around for decades, which I have tremendous respect for and really like model like my own vision for what a gym should look like after. And at Sessions, we're doing really good. You know, at Sessions, we're just a few years old again, and we have, I think, some baby fat still to trim. But I'm really honestly optimistic and excited. And like, yeah, just kind of want to point that out too. Like, I want it here in Las Cruces. I just also want, I would like to see Las Cruces like kind of get out more, you know, like as a Las Crucian growing up, it took me a long time to go to the Oregons, and the Oregons are like 10 minutes away. So it's not as remote as people here seem to believe.
No, I'm really glad that you touched on that. And also, yes, like Albuquerque, absolutely beautiful. I have not been climbing out there yet, so I'm gonna make it a goal. So what has been the most satisfying thing in being a coach? So I think that you've uh done wonderful at being a leader, definitely because I've seen you lead and I know your leadership style. And it's a lot of like problem solving focus, not so much of like, well, whose fault it is. It's like, no, we gotta like problem solve. Like, what's going on? How can we fix this? So I've seen you in action because I've been climbing 2 sessions. Did I say that right? I've climbed at sessions.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen you coach. I mean, I've been coached by you, but I haven't seen you coach kids. So tell me about that. Tell me about that experience, what you like about it, and what it's done for you.
That's an interesting question. I have right here on my board. I think instead of me trying to describe it, I should just.
Oh my gosh, thank you. People go subscribe right now because Nick is doing overtime for us. Look at him. Look at him showing us.
Well, look, because one of them wrote me a letter. I keep all the letters that they
Oh.
write me. Some of them write me letters, and like I prescribe homework assignments, and I keep the really good ones. So it's like answer your question in a sentence. My favorite thing is when I see that they realize like how much power they have, when they realize how capable they are, when they realize when that shift happens. Like my favorite thing is just seeing them grow, you know? Like my favorite thing is to see the little ones suddenly become strong, or the ones who are like troublemakers and giving you a hard time suddenly like help out the one that's weaker than them. Like to see that shift occur is my favorite thing. But I also want to read you this letter from Paulina. because
Oh, do
she
it,
is
do it.
a little crusher and I'm so proud of her. And I think she describes me pretty well in this. She says, "Dear Nick, as you may have heard, I have big news," which we all talked about it. "I made Team Texas climbing, which means I am moving to Dallas soon. This is hard because I have to leave the session's climbing family for now. Aside from that, thanks for bringing so much energy and fun to every session. You always knew how to keep the vibes high, even when things got hard. I'll miss your energy and those random funny moments that made training so much more enjoyable. Keep that vibe going. You make climbing even more fun for everyone around you. Paul from former Comp Kid. P.S. I believe in you for your journey of becoming the best climber in the gym. Keep crushing it."
Mm. Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Do you want to tell us more or do you
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say too, I have a few other things like that, and like I've made some videos of the kid. Oh, another girl, gosh, she wrote a letter to Shauna Coxey, who's a very famous climber, and the team replied, and we got some gear back from her. And so we made a little video where she's like writing a letter and then she's reading it out loud. And it just came together so well. And just seeing them, yeah, express themselves and be authentic, like that's my favorite thing. So I try to really bring that to the team too by being expressive, like fun, authentic. I tend to be the more goofy coach, but I also I rewatched Coach Carter recently, so I'm trying to bring more of that like serious Samuel L. Jackson kind of vibe to the team, which is paying off too.
Wow, no, that's amazing. I just had a recent interview where I interviewed a veterinarian, and she's a friend of mine. But she was talking about kind of like being in your highest power, and it's like when you love yourself and what you love what you do, you're able to pour onto others, which brings me full circle to maybe the thing that should be doing is maybe the thing that maybe is not going to give you the most money, but that's going to bring you the most joy because in doing that, you're going to make a greater impact. And again, it's not about the money because the money will come so long as you're doing the thing that you love. I see you pouring onto these kids and even the way they speak about you, and you are part of their journey. Also, the thing that coaching has done is that it's not about me, but when I coach, I see how it heals me. Like I
Right.
see of like, man, especially whenever, for example, I had a male coach. He's still my coach in martial arts, and he's wonderful and he's amazing. And I care so much about this coach. He's like family. He is family. Um, but there were things that he couldn't quite do or grasp because I'm a female, and it's sometimes different to coach males and females. But in being a coach, I was able to give that coaching or do the things that he couldn't do for me to female students.
Mm.
So, like conversations or talks or tips or how to's because it's kind of like I became the person that I needed. And so maybe you've become the person that you needed.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Ooh,
it's
that's
cool to
good.
see the yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool to see the transformation and see you in action and see you do it. And also, like, you didn't have a coach. Well, maybe you did later, but then, like, the things that you had to learn the hard way, you did it so that, these kids could do it right. Like, you became the person that you needed. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
I
proud of
also
you.
thanks. It wasn't all me either. I mean, gosh, most of it was other people too. I feel really grateful for all the coaches that I did have. I mean, I've had a couple very clear like climbing mentors and like climbing coaches, but most of the coaches that come to my mind when I think of the coach that I try to be and emulate are from, karate, or from other sports or even teachers. Like I thought for a
Mhm.
long time that I wanted to be a teacher, and another person pointed out to me that I probably would have hated it because I wasn't a very great traditional student. Like I would ace the tests, I would question the system, I would rage against the machine. And that's something that if I were a formal teacher in the school system, like I would have to endure that, which actually would be quite difficult. So I'm really grateful that I'm in this place now where I really get to write the program. Like we got to stay safe. Like the more safe we are, the more fun we can have. So as long as we're super safe, like we can have crazy fun. So I write some crazy awesome programs. Like, yeah, it's fun when I hop in and like sub for the other programs that we do now, like after school or with the little kids. And then after one session, like those little kids will see me in the gym later and they're like, Coach, when are you gonna come back to class? Like, Coach, when are you gonna do this again? And I'm like, oh, sorry, buddies. That's not normally my thing. So it's, yeah, interesting to see that connection just happen like so quickly. Um, because it feels like that was part of something that, again, I was like meant to always do. I think talking on like identities and stuff like that. I've kind of always felt like a coach, not like a coach specifically, but I've always felt like a big brother for sure. Like, I've I remember being an only child, and then I remember my brothers being born, and I remember very clearly, like now I'm 6, and my parents are like, "Okay, you're setting good examples. Like you got to make sure you take care of them. You got to make sure that they're like, safe and stuff." And then the other brother, like one of my middle one, I'm sorry, had this blood disorder called ITP, where there's like a low presence of platelets. And so now I'm like 11 and I kind of understand what this is. And so that also kind of shaped me to being a care provider and someone who looks out for and watches and understands like, oh, this dude doesn't have a lot of platelets. So if he gets a bruise or a cut, like it's going to be pretty severe. And that kind of went on to just really shape my whole identity. And I was really lucky to always have kids around me as well. Like growing up in a big family, there's always kids to babysit and like someone to help out with. So it's just really natural. Like, I don't honestly, dude, I'll be like in the grocery store, I'll be in some random public place and just a child will look at me. I'll like look at them and, they'll smile or something and I'll just like wave back. And
Mhm.
then I don't know. There's just that connection that we have, which I find is a skill that I have that other people seem to struggle with. And I think in those cases, it's important to recognize when you have those strengths because you should use them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really love that you said that because oftentimes I think that we work on like working on our weaknesses, which is great. Like you should, but also you should play on your strengths, like the things that bring you joy and the things you're good at, because I completely agree with you. So I didn't know that you were the oldest, but I'm the oldest. But I think maybe we have that like big brother, big sister approach or big sister mentality of like just maybe the way we were raised of like I want to take care of you, like I want to protect you, I want to keep you safe. So let me teach you, let me show you how. Also I think everybody has like their own landscape or place that they want to work. So I've done some public speaking. I don't know if you knew about that, but I did a public speaking conference at Oñate High School and I was able to talk to a few students and they were juniors and seniors. So just telling them like think through like the place where you want to work because it's also like the way you're going to be dressed. It's also the population you're going to be talking to. So just kind of telling them like I know a lot of people are telling you like, "Oh, go into this job. It's super high paying." Or go into this job like you're going to make a lot of money. Or go into this job. There's job security. But a lot of those same things, like for example, there was job security in coding, but now because of AI, there's a lot of people that like AI is gonna write code, you know? So it's like that thing of like job security, I feel like it's like I don't want to say like a scam or a lie, but you should just do the thing that you want to do anyway because even if you're not like, imagine you spent a bunch of money or did a bunch of this or fill in the blank, and now it's like AI or this or so I think you should just go for the thing that you wanna do anyway.
Agreed.
So I always tell them to think through, like, do you wanna be in scrubs and be in a hospital? Because that's where you're gonna be, and you're gonna be dealing with all kinds of patients. Or do you wanna work with kids? Or do you wanna work outside? Or do you wanna work with your hands? Do you wanna work with your mind? Do you wanna work late at night? Do you want a job that maybe, for example, it's high adrenaline, like being, for example, maybe being a cop, but then you're on call and like if there's an emergency late at night, it's 1 AM, like you gotta be there. So like what kind of job do you wanna have? Do you want a job that is, for example, you're dressing up every day and your hair and makeup is done, but you're gonna be in high heels like all the time, every day? Like what kind of job do you wanna have? Like, think of the good, think of the bad, but also, is it worth it for you, not for the person telling you to do it? Like, it has to be worth it for you. So no, I think Really good. I don't know how we got on this topic. I stopped reading the notes because I was like, "No, we gotta do this live." But then
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, no."
No, I like what you're saying though. You're saying just show up for the life that you want. You're saying like it's kind of a more deeper and meaningful version of like dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. Because like,
Mhm,
yeah, I'm glad you're putting it out that way too. Like you knew me when I was in the hospital, and like, yeah, you saw me in scrubs all the time. Like that was my life. Like I like that you're pointing out that it's a whole landscape because, yeah, my life in healthcare feels like a whole other life. Like I was in the hospital all the time, or I was like just with different people all the time. And you don't really think about the gravity of who you surround yourself with until we become a little bit older and we have the experience to look back on. Yeah, I think that was part of what pulled me into this world, actually, now that you pointed out, was the gravity of the connection that I felt with the community and just realizing like, oh snap, like this is where everything fits in, like all of my skills. And it's also the way I dress all the time anyways. Like I like being kind of dirty. Like I like being outside. Like I like the adrenaline. I like being up high. Like I like working with gear. Dude, I love route setting, especially with ropes. Like I feel like freaking Batman. Like I'm a head to toe in gear and like I know what everything is and how to use it. And I'm tying knots and just hauling up a bunch of equipment. Like that fills me up so much, like more than the money does, because it was such a soul suck. Like it was driving me almost over the edge. Like I didn't realize it, but in healthcare, I was giving, giving, giving to so many people. And I would get back as well. Like I could see people, you know, benefiting from my presence, benefiting from what I was doing for them, even if they weren't, healing as fast as they could, or even if they weren't healing like at all. And that was the hardest part was like, we're here and we know the expiration date's coming up soon. And like providing the end of life care was definitely really hard. Like at the end of the day, it had me wondering why I was even there. And it had me go into a pretty dark place in my mind that I didn't want to go further down. But talking about like what we get back from it, I mean, again, I get back from the kids so much. And it's this weird place too. I know I'm in the right place because I get this weird energy where even if I'm having the worst day, like I'm driving in, I'm late, like there's traffic, like everything's going wrong. Like when it's like time to show up for the kids and like, especially if it's the right kids, like the ones who love it, like if the right kids are there, like I have infinite energy. Like I just show up. I'm like, it's really cool. And it's really like, it's getting me kind of teared up actually. Like
No,
just
I think that could
the
lead
vibe.
us into, like, energy. So I always say, like, there's things that give you energy and there's things that take away energy. For example, right now, I'm coaching at a gym and, like, I'm gonna say this, but it's not to like, "Oh, Val, you think you so high and mighty of yourself." I have a master's degree, okay? And I pursued it thinking I was gonna do something clinical with it. So I'm 29, I'm coaching. The coaches have to clean bathrooms, and it is absolutely not below me. And I do it because I love coaching. And one day I had this thought of like, I never thought I would be 29 and I'd still be cleaning toilets. And then I was like, well, yes, but this is the price that you pay for doing the thing you love. Like, it
Mm,
sucks. This is not the fun part, but I freaking love coaching. And if it means that I get to coach tomorrow, I'd still do it. It is absolutely not below me. Then the other thing that you said about like there's the kids that love it. Again, I think that goes back to like energy. Like the kids that love it and want to be there make it so much fun because they want to be there. And the kids that don't want to be there, it's like maybe you should go do a different sport, like something that actually lights you up. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's robotics, maybe it's but it's like, because you're not happy, like, it doesn't make it happier for us. So again, it goes back to you gotta go find that thing that brings you joy, because if it brings you joy, you're gonna bring others around you joy. So that's how I knew. It's like when things start to take my energy, it's time to go. Because if I'm like, "Ugh, I hate this. Ugh, I don't wanna be here," the people next to me are like, "Ugh, she's here. Ugh, we don't wanna be around her." Because
yeah.
I'm not bringing joy. So it's like that's how I know. It's like that's my telltale of like, should I be here? If it's bringing me joy, yes, because others are gonna benefit because I can give. Like it's like I'm pouring into me so I can pour into others. But if it's draining me, I literally don't have anything to give because I'm literally being like depleted. So, like, that's, like, my telltale of, like, where I should go and where I should be. And then sometimes it's like, and you can tell me what you think. Sometimes it's hard knowing of, like, should I just stick through this and maybe, like, I'm being both poured into and poured out of, like, I'm learning something and I'm getting so much of it, but man, it's taking so much out of me. That's, like, the gray area where I'm like, I have to see how long I can do this before I pivot. 'Cause yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts of like,
Yeah,
should I just
I
stick through
find
this?
it's a balance of because I mean, it's easy to paint a rosy picture of like, yay, my passion is my career and I get to make money doing this, but it's interesting. I find that with money, just the more money you have, the more your expensive things are. Like it's always proportional. Like you got big money, you're gonna have big problems. I don't know. Like it seems to usually balance out. But the important thing I believe is that you need to make sure the balance is always in your favor. Like you, at the end of the day, you got to eat. Like you need money to pay for things that you need. And I need at least that much money. I need to save a little bit. And I also need to understand what I'm sacrificing. And I would suggest that for people too. Like I've chosen this career and that means I've sacrificed other careers where I know I would be making more money. And you have to be okay with that. Um, Also, I'll say like right before this, immediately before this job, I was working for a pretty up there marijuana company here in New Mexico, which was very likely to be very profitable. And I was suddenly faced with this choice of like, okay, easy big money in the marijuana industry or the struggle of making my dream come true. And I would choose the dream every single time because at the end of the day, I know that if I had gone the other way, I would be involved with something that like is enjoyable, but it's not what I'm passionate about or really believe in. Like I believe in this so much that it pours out of me like into other areas of my life. And because I'm learning how to be more frugal, I'm like as a manager, like that's applying to my personal life. Like because I'm exercising regularly and getting out there, like I have energy and I feel good like most of the time. Like all these benefits outweigh the other cons that, money can provide some pleasures and comforts, but other sacrifices are like, time, energy. Like, I think if you're gonna, whatever route you choose, you have to understand you're sacrificing other routes and you have to make peace with that. And that's the first step to like really, for me, that's the first step for me to really dig into this is for me to just close off those other channels of possibility and just focus on what's right in front of me and just nail it. Because that's the fun part is like really going deep because like you can go infinitely deep into anything. Like possibility is everywhere. It's just a matter of choosing like the right thing at the right time, you know, and having support. Like once all these things align, then yeah, we can reap the benefits of going going deep on the dream. But also, again, understand sacrificing. I'm gonna be on the road a lot. I'm gonna be tired a lot. You know, I'm gonna have to save every penny, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, Nick, I think that was so beautiful. So one thing, another quote, because we both read a lot and we're both, um, well, maybe you're a higher level philosopher. I do not read that much philosophy anymore, but I will. But one thing that I think about is choose your heart. Everything is going to be hard. Um, but you have the choice. So you can choose a heart that's gonna make you happy, or you can choose a heart that's gonna drain you. And so it's just like, and that's the other thing is, I'm very lucky and I have the privilege that I get to choose my heart, and this is what I choose to do and I'm gonna pursue it. Like you said, is if it comes down to the nice paying job or like the building my dream, this is gonna take longer to do, but I'm gonna reap the benefits. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a year, but I'm gonna see it through versus just taking the easy route that yeah, it's gonna pay well, but man, I'm locked in and now I gotta do this thing I don't like. So yeah, I would say choose your heart and choose your heart wisely, and there's gonna be sacrifices along the road. But if your dream is worth it, then it's worth it. And when it's done, you'll get to share it with others. I think that's also the beauty in it. It's that when it's set, when it's done, you will see it. You will see the kids climbing and the adults climbing. Also, man, I think I think in the near future, I would like to start a family. When I think of the things that I want to do, I want to take my little kids climbing. I want to coach like you. I want safety. I want those things. So again, I think the future, your future that you want is bright. And also, I know others out there want it for themselves or their families. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me look through a few more of our questions. Future reflection. Okay, so all right, I have a good one, and then we will start to wrap this up. Fun and optional. Okay,
Okay.
what has surprised you about yourself in the process of doing this work with kids?
Whew. What has surprised me is a few things. It's hard to just pick like one. But I think what has surprised me actually the most, like at this point where I'm at right now, is being the person who has being the manager, especially like being the manager of programs. Like you're the one who's ultimately responsible and holding the bag and expected to know how to deal with things when things hit the fan. And even though I'm technically not like a manager now, I'm still consulting. I'm still like in some meetings, and I appreciate that like my opinion is still taken seriously because I really care and believe about this stuff. So what surprised me is that there's moments where people really turn to me and look to me for leadership and expect me to know solutions to problems that I actually don't know or I've never had to deal with. And, we always hear about things like that. And the appropriate response is always like, well, I don't know, but I'm going to find out and I'll get back to you. So, that's what I do in those cases and I do my best. But, there's one moment with a kid that really just, man, no one knew what the right answer to that question was. She was sharing some things with other people in the gym that were concerning, and we weren't exactly sure of the most appropriate course of action to respond to that, because we have to respond. Like as soon as I figured out what was happening, like yeah, I'm reading all the materials, I'm going through all of the proper guidelines and finding out the laws and regulations, and having to make phone calls that never thought I would have to make, but I did. And it actually surprised me that I was able to handle it as I don't want to say well, but I was able to handle it as it needed to be handled. And I hope that, that doesn't happen again, obviously, but it's nice to know that that tool is in my box. And if I ever need to pull it out, I know how to use it now. So I think that's been probably the most surprising thing is like the level of responsibility, especially with kids, that you like have to step up to if you're going to be a true leader for them.
Wow. No, I think that's absolutely powerful because I think, yes, being in leadership and being a leader sometimes means making those hard calls, but also knowing that you have it in you to do it. Because I think I don't want to say what separates a leader from a follower, because I think you have to be both. Like there's times where I'm following because I don't know how to lead yet or lead in that industry yet. But I think once you're a leader, it's like, okay, like you got to make those calls and being like, all right, like this is what I'm gonna do. So, wow, I think that was very powerful. I do have a few more questions.
Yeah.
To close, if you had one invitation for us, your audience, the people watching this right now, to pause, explore, to act, what would it be? Like, whether it's climbing related or just, I don't know, do some soul searching. Like, what is something that, yeah, you want your audience to know right now?
Right now, it seems like most everybody that I know is kind of going through it. I don't know. It's just the time of the year. So for everyone right now, just gosh, because I have to tell myself this all the time. This is the hardest thing for me. This is why I want to say it. But you're not as alone as you feel like you are, like really ever. If you're the only person in the house, even if you haven't talked to anybody in a while, like I'm gonna get all teary talking about this again because it's important. I feel alone often, and I have to tell myself that I'm not. Like, I have you, I have so many friends, I have family. It's just this weird kind of phase of life that I think we're all in right now, where we're kind of trying to show how strong we are and that we got this. But I think it's more important that we lean on each other, that we check in with each other, and that we let each other know, like, I really care about you. I am here for you. Like, your voice matters. I think that's probably the most important thing that I would tell anybody hearing this right now is your voice matters. And if you have something that you feel like you need to say, you should probably say it.
And I think that that's beautiful. There's this quote that goes around a lot, and oddly enough, it's Keanu Reeves that's like
Mm.
in
Yeah.
the frame. But it's like there's a
Okay.
difference between alone and loneliness. Alone just means like, oh, like I'm alone. But there's a lot of people that like are okay with that state of like, I'm alone and that's okay, but like I'm alone and I can go watch a movie, or I'm alone and I can call a friend. Like alone doesn't mean lonely. Loneliness is where you're like secluded and like yeah, like loneliness. Like one is being like a state of being and one is being like a state of mind kind of thing. And it's like the way you think about it. But I've been in both where I've been in both and I've actually learned to enjoy being alone. So up here in Washington, I do have a lot of alone time, but I've used it to read, I've used it to paint, I've used it to explore, and it's actually made companionship when I'm with my friends that much more meaningful. When I have these conversations, that much more meaningful because yeah, it's I think we all go through these periods, and I think also, just saying it because I think that sometimes we like to say, "Oh, no, I'm okay. Oh, no, I'm doing fine. Oh, no, things are great." And it's just like actually saying like, "Yeah, right now I'm just feeling a little lonely," or "Yeah, right now I'm kind of struggling, but I'm doing good." Like there's actually much more power in like taking away the power of just addressing it of like, "Yeah, right now I'm just figuring it out," or "Yeah, right now, like I'm just trying to earn more money, I'm looking for jobs," but not suppressing it. I think there's power in not just sweeping it under the rug because I think in that aspect you're facing it like an opponent in maybe martial arts of like, yeah, you're a tough opponent, but I'm working through it versus like, oh no, you're not there at all. Like
Yes.
in one you're addressing it. Maybe it's uncomfortable, but you're addressing it, and then the other one, you're dismissing it, but that doesn't mean it went away.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you
So
said that actually, because that's a perfect like tee up into the next little like thing, because I wanted to make that first point. And with the next point is like lean into your community, like face, each other, face, the enemies, the friends, like just face each other, face your opponent, face whoever it is. And I think that's the nice thing about climbing is that it's always just yourself. Like it's the wall. It's you're facing against gravity. Like there's not a real opponent other than like the opponent up in here. And so I think that's what I just to kind of tie this all back into climbing, like that's my favorite thing about one of my favorite things about climbing that I find new people especially will get those big ahas from is when we realize there's no like end goal. Like the grading system only is still going up. Like it's an evolving sport. Like it's non-traditional. Like the point is for you to try as hard as you can and trust the gear, trust each other, trust the wall. Like trust. Like it's yeah. That's the a really awesome part about it. So I would also encourage people to go try rock climbing. Shameless promotion time now. If you haven't tried rock climbing, go
yeah,
tell a buddy
that's
and try it
funny.
out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, do it. Be super shameless. Be like, you can find me, Nick, at
Yeah.
sessions
Might
if
be
you
in
want
El
to climb
Paso or
in
somewhere
El
nearby.
Paso.
This weekend
Oh
I'll probably be
gosh.
in Socorro, actually rock climbing out over there.
What was that?
Oh, I said this weekend I'll probably be in Socorro, New Mexico, climbing one.
Oh. Yeah, post pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah, do it. Do it because I want to see the community. I want to see the nature. So do it.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess final question to wrap things up. Where do you find inspiration? One of the, again, I am so lucky for all of the people, all of the teachers, all of the mentors. I had an art teacher, and her name is Miss Aguilera. I hope she watches this. But she said, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." And she said, all of you guys are capable of finding art or beauty in everything. And then there's this quote, where there's this song, and Jesus, I forgot the artist. He's a rapper, but he's like, there's beauty in the struggle. Do you know that line? There's beauty in the struggle. And so
Sounds
there's
familiar.
beauty everywhere. J. Cole. I think it's J. Cole. Um, but what keeps you inspired? For me, I could look at the rain, I could look at leaves. I have a leaf back there. And like I just sometimes for me is literally like doing nothing and going on a walk, but what keeps you inspired? Yeah.
That's a good question. There's a few different ways I think I want to answer it. The things, because I have tangible things that keep me inspired. Like I wear a necklace like all the time, and you know, it has meaning. It means a lot to me, and like I know as long as it's like proof of something hard that I have done and overcome. Like I think it's important to keep proof of how badass a person is, of how strong you are. Like keep little tokens, keep little talismans of whatever, of a moment where you felt overpowered, like awesome, overjoyed, like just over the moon. I think it's nice to have little trinkets that remind you that there was a moment where everything was just spot on. I mean, that's kind of what keeps me inspired in a broad sort of sense. Because then if you break it down into like climbing specifically, especially route setting right now, I mean, I'm putting the holds on the wall for people to experience, and that experience or that inspiration comes more from outside and the actual boulders that like I've climbed. My inspiration as a coach comes from, like you're saying, more my own mentors and people who've like helped me, people who I still like, I hear their voices. Like I remember exactly when they gave me some advice or when they picked me up when I felt down, or yeah, there's some people that I feel so grateful for and I just want to still emulate, Shout out like Mr. Houston, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Yursick, like of so many teachers and instructors have inspired me and I want to do that for others too. And I see that I am. Like that's the cool part. Like I can see it growing now that I've been doing it for so long. I can see some kids are inspired. Like I can see. Gosh, I love teaching breath work, especially like when I teach my little lessons on how to manage and like follow your breath. And like I see kids actually use it when they're on the wall and like without me telling them to. And like I know they got it. I know they can do it. Like, ah, I just love it. I just love it.
No, that's amazing. Okay, well, we're getting ready to wrap this up, but I just wanted to say thank you to Nick for first and foremost being my friend and being there with me through some of like the silent battles that people don't know about. And he was there and he helped me get out of there and gave me another community. And I want to say thank you to Nick for believing in me and sitting down and having this conversation with me, because also it lets you know, I don't want to say who your friends are, but it's just like, man, you believe in me. Like you're willing to sit down and have a conversation with me. Thank you. Keep those people around, the people that love you, uplift you, and want to see your dreams come true. So thank you, Nick. And then just thank you, Nick, on behalf of the community for helping them, for being there for them. Because in the same way that you've helped me, you're helping others. So thank you. What closing thoughts do you have?
Gosh, just thank you as well. I mean, yeah, we've known each other for a long time now, and we've seen each other grow and struggle and succeed and all of that that goes into life. And I'm just really grateful that we're still so tight and that you think I'm so cool that I should be on your show. Thank you for having me and making me, feel like a little star. I have a big enough head as it is, but I always appreciate a little bit more hype. Closing thoughts. I mean, just keep it fun. Honestly, that's the main advice. Like I train up all of our coaches now too, and there's always so many questions about how do you handle this? How do you handle that? Like, what do I say when the kid does this? And I'm like, dude, there's an infinity number of situations that you're going to encounter when you're working with a kid. Like, just remember at the end of the day, like, be safe and have fun. Like, it's a rock climbing gym. That's the easy part for me. It's like we're in a fun place. Like, even if you're not in a rock climbing gym, like, oh gosh, I heard a quote recently that I loved. It was something about like, if we could take off the goggles of habit that we seem to have stuck to our face, every experience would be overwhelmingly beautiful. Like walking through a grocery store or like walking down the street, like seeing, a baby being pushed in a stroller or like a dog, there's so much cool stuff out there all the time. So
Yeah.
in a nutshell, just have fun with it.
Have fun with it. All right. That's a good way to end it. You guys, this was Deep Naked Thoughts. This was Nick Tellez. I'm going to attach his links, his socials, if you guys want to go give him a follow, see what he's up to, maybe get into the climbing community. And always just thank you for watching. Go subscribe. These interviews you take time, effort, and planning. And you're helping me out. You're helping me continue to be a creative. Thank you guys so much.
Yay. Thank you.